Welcome to Exploring the Mystical Side of Life with your host, Linda Lang.
Hi, this is Linda Lang from ThoughtChange.com. We are exploring the mystical side of life once again this week. If you enjoy our conversations, please subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I have the beautiful Kahu Lahela with me today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Linda. I would love to share an oli with you and with the listeners. And this oli is the way to clear the pathway ahead for all of us. And what a great opportunity to do this, to open up the pathway ahead. No hoana kia koi kana hele hele. Ia lai ai te riohu e taua kōko. E nā kino malui talani malue hoe. E ho'olu mai ana o laka I kona mau kahu. O mākou, o mākono.
It is my favorite oli. So, for the listeners, an oli is a chant without drum, without music. It's the voice that is carrying the energy. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful prayer that you've just sent out for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my favorite way to open up any session. Let's start out, by clearing the slate and opening up the channel ahead of us, the pathway ahead, so we can all go together on this journey. So thank you.
The Hawaiians have such a beautiful way of really connecting with source and nature. I'm wondering if you could just share a little bit how you connect on a daily basis.
Well, I am very fortunate to live on this island, Oahu. We live on this family property that's been in the family for quite some time. And we live in this Ahupua'a, this valley that's very sacred, right alongside this majestic mountain. And it's very lush and green. We live in a tropical rainforest here. And so every day I'm out in nature. I commune with the plants. And this is something that I've known for past lives. I was medicine. And as I'm outdoors within nature, I connect to the plants and I have a conversation with them. And as you know, in the Hawaiian culture, this is a part of who we are. We communicate with spirit in nature. We communicate with the spirit of the Aina, the spirit of the land. We open our awareness to the energy that surrounds us. So when I step into nature, I dissolve, I disintegrate, so that I'm not me, and I merge into nature. I dissolve myself into particles so that I can be in nature and just blend in and receive the mana, receive the messages, receive the blessings.
And you don't have to be on a Hawaiian island to do that. I'm here in Canada. We have amazing, majestic forests and beautiful rivers. There's quite a bit of space. Even in the cities, there are parks. So I want to encourage everyone to find their connection. Even looking outside and looking at the clouds can help you connect.
Any body of water, it could be a pond, it could be a lake, it could be a fountain. Any body of water is so conducive to connecting. And the first light of day is magical. This is the most potent energy that comes in. I stand at the shoreline here and I greet the sunrise in the morning. And that first light of day that bounces off of that water is the most healing energy, that I inhale it and I drape it all over me and I wear it like a cloak just to infuse it into my being. And as I'm doing this right now, Linda, I can feel like I'm just covered because there's no separation. Only the mind separates, but we are one with everything. And as I'm doing this right now, I'm literally taking all of those golden light particles that are bouncing off the water, the early morning light, and just draping myself. You can do this with any body of water.
Clear your aura.
Exactly. Yes, we need that, the negative ions to feel vibrant and healthy and radiant. And with our breath, our ha in nature, when you inhale, you breathe it in, and with your ha, you exhale out. And, we have this way of greeting one another here in the islands where we do the Honi, forehead to nose, and we inhale together and exhale together. We're sharing our breath, our ha, with that life-giving force, that life-giving essence with loved ones. That expression alone just fills you up with this energy of this life force energy, where you now can connect with everything and connect with others.
It reminds us just how connected we are.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start your spiritual path?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to when I was a child. I grew up on this beautiful property that was at the shoreline here in Hakipu'u, which is where I still live today, but I now live further up in the mountains. So I grew up at the shoreline, and right alongside our property, right next to our property, is this ancient fish pond. And this ancient fish pond was built in the 800 AD by the Menehune, the little people. And this fish pond, as we would play, my brother and I and the neighborhood kids would play together, running around barefoot. We'd be swimming in the ocean there. There's a knowing, there's a mana, there's a relationship that was established at an early age for me, where I recalled being a kahu or a kahuna. And as a little girl, I would conduct little ceremonies all by myself in nature with plants, with some of the seeds and things that I would find. And I would have ceremony to plant a certain plant. And later on, I would come to find out that is the plant that assists these spirits to cross over, return back to, as we would say, return back to Hawaii, return back to source. So it was just a knowing. But then, of course, as you become a young adult, you get into life and school and all of that, and work, and that slips away. And I became a photographer. I was a professional photographer for 30 years. Then I had this calling, and it felt as though someone was whispering in my ear and tapping me on the shoulder to be going in another direction. And I wasn't so sure exactly what direction, but I had a feeling, of course, that it was a spiritual direction. The way spirit operates in this third dimensional realm, it was a challenging time for me because I was shifting out of a very comfortable 6-figure income livelihood, and then moving into another into the spiritual realm, where now I had to let go. And I had to let go of a beautiful home. So I actually went through foreclosure and bankruptcy and all of this as I was being led to let go of this and move into, this other area of life. So that was very challenging, but at the same time, I was trusting, and I just went on this process. I just said, okay, here we go. I trust. It's like standing at the edge of the cliff and taking that leap of faith.
Well, you make such a good point about how challenging the path can be when you step onto it and seriously step onto it and give your life to your path. It isn't always easy. It isn't.
As long as you can keep your heart open, the heart space, have to remember to not live in the head space and to connect here to your heart, to your pu'uvai. And here, when you operate from this place, and so, sometimes we have difficulty, and I myself, okay, I was the worst worrier in the world. And my kahu at the time, Wendell Silva, who I love dearly, he gave me this beautiful prayer. And he says, I want you to do this. I want you to do this prayer, this ritual daily. And so I did. So he gave me this beautiful prayer of releasing, and then when you release, you replace it with something else. So I released worry and doubt and insecurity and replaced it with trust and self-love and grace, and just allow for all of that heaviness to leave and let go of the heaviness. And then that way you can step into this newer version of yourself, as if you're standing on this threshold, being the embodiment of grace.
That opens the heart chakra.
That opens the heart chakra, right? And when you're in that space, then you see possibilities. You don't see challenges. I mean, there are challenges, but you move through it with grace, not in fear.
Sometimes I think it's easier to connect when you have a simpler life.
And that's what Spirit wanted for us, is to let go of the idea of what we thought was success, and let go of the heaviness of the baggage, so that you can move forward, with light, being lighter, stepping into the light. And this is an interesting analogy, is that Spirit was saying, okay, you're going to be, the camera's going to be put aside, and you're going to now, your eyes, what would document the life on the external, now you're going to take your eyes and you're going to turn your gaze inward to look in here and connect with yourself. Connect with that divine presence here. In photography, we use light to make the exposure, to create the image. And they said, now you're going to take the light and you're going to shine the light into the darkest recesses of your person. And you're going to expose yourself to this light. And so that was an eye-opening journey for me. I felt like I was entering into a spiritual virtual labyrinth, coming into the entrance of the labyrinth. And then the whole point is to get to the center of the labyrinth. But as you know how a labyrinth works, you don't first go into the center. You have to go in, and then you're going to go around this way, and then you're going to meet somebody there who's going to change your life. And that was my kumu, who came into my life at that point. And slowly you pick up these like golden nuggets along the path that help you to become more awake and aware of energy, of truth. I like to call it divine truth, because a lot of what we see is an illusion. It's not about what's happening out there. It's about what's happening in here. So it's an inward journey, and being on this virtual labyrinth helped me to realize that more and more, and to operate from that place of, from the no thing, from the zero place, from the, what we call it po in Hawaiian, which is night, but it's also the void.
So Lahela, this journey within, this is This is the journey of the ages, right? This is even on the oracle at Delphi, right? The know thyself. That is, and I have goosebumps even saying it, that is one of the main reasons we are here, to really understand who we are and then step into that place of radiating who we are in service to creation.
Yeah, well said, Linda. I love that. I have co-created with Spirit this beautiful course called Ho'i Mai Iho No, which means the journey inward. I've been getting this nudge. They elbow me and they're saying, okay, create this thing, put this together. We need to assist more of our brothers and sisters on the planet everywhere to awaken and to get off of the hamster wheel of life, that repetitive doing things, staying within the boundaries, playing life safe, because that is an illusion.
And having your power source outside of you, some place you have to go or some thing you have to do. I think that's one of the gifts of that journey within, because you take you wherever you go.
It's not so much about the doing as it is about the being. But you do have to let go of what you think you need to do, and trust that you are being guided, and allow. I love to be in the ocean, and when I'm in the ocean, I just float on the surface of the water. And that's what I mean by allow. Just let yourself be guided by your higher self, by your divine soul self, by your guides. And that's what the journey inward is, trusting that when you're going in, there's a whole universe in there, and trusting that your divine presence is there to guide you. And so it's sort of like unraveling the idea of yourself as, the identities. It's sort of like stripping yourself of all of these layers to get to your core. And your core is so beautiful and so magnificent and just radiates light. That's pure source. And pure source energy has so much love to share with you. So once you get to that core, you feel that self-love. And self-love is the key to being of service to our brothers and sisters everywhere. So you strip yourself down to your truth. You stand on this threshold and you be the embodiment of grace, allowing grace to flow in you and through you and as you. And that way you're living in your present moment, not in the past, not in the future, but in the present moment, where you renew yourself daily. And you stand there on that threshold and you are in the channel of love and light, where unlimited possibilities are available to you.
I'm just, awestruck by the energy that those words carry, and it just really opens my heart up. So thank you. And I agree that it starts on the inside. Lahela, I've talked on this podcast before about, I'll call it a visitation I had when I was diagnosed with cancer and I was 22 years old. And this golden orb came into the room, pitch black. I couldn't even see the end of my nose. It was so dark. And this beautiful light came in and I just watched it. And I watched it come to the tip of my nose and then come into my third eye, travel up my nose cartilage to my third eye. And then I found myself in this place of just incredible unconditional love and light and peace. And it was like more real than this is. But the amazing thing is that it was inside me. that space was inside me, and that light, that beautiful golden orb just lit it up within me. And I'm not any different than anyone else. We all have that place, that connection. It's just that so many of us have lost it.
That's beautiful, Linda. Thank you for sharing that, because it is us. I feel that that is your higher self, your divine soul self, reconnecting with you, saying, here we are, here I am, here I am, here you are. And that is so beautiful. That is that awakening. We all can experience that. And, you know, it is important, though, to remove doubt and remove fear, because those are the blocks that keep us from having this experience. And so your breath, your ha, is so important. Many people don't breathe deeply enough, or aren't aware of their breath. And as we become more and more aware of your breath, you connect with your body. We have these spiritual, I call them feelers, that help us to navigate through life. And we feel the energy. We feel the energy in wherever we go, in the space that we're in. You know, even when I'm driving a car, my feelers can feel the energy as I'm driving, because it's wide, it's big. This energy field extends far out. So this is the knowingness. Once you connect with that part of yourself and use your breath to inhale and exhale and connect with source, and share your breath with source, and go within, you begin to know yourself on a deeper level, and you get to connect with that divine presence within you, that golden orb that you were talking about. It's the essence of who you are.
Lahela, how do you teach people to really connect to that spot within themselves?
Beautiful question. First, through your breath, being very mindful and just taking that deep inhale and that deep exhale. Just being ever so present with your breath. And you know, you'll begin to feel yourself relaxing. You begin to become more aware of the quietness within. And if you can do this if you can take these deep breaths every morning when you wake up, before you start your day, and just, you can do it laying down, you can do it sitting up, or you can do it looking out your window, and just taking these deep breaths, really connecting to your heart space right here. And if you can really feel what, and I love this, and I love Greg Braden, he's one of my favorite authors, and he talks about feel compassion in your heart center, in your heart space. When you can connect through your breath to that heart space and feel what compassion feels like.
As Greg Braden would say, you become the walking heart.
And you're centering yourself, grounding yourself. And in this space, you become aware of the energy around you. Your awareness heightens. And now when you can visualize yourself standing in a channel of light, and this beautiful golden white light comes down and surrounds you, and you feel whole. You feel like all the fragmented pieces of yourself start to come back together and to bring you back into a state of wholeness. If you can just start with that every day, You'll feel more love in your heart for yourself, and be very mindful to think lovingly of yourself, to speak lovingly to yourself, and speak lovingly of yourself to others. Be careful of the words that fall out of your mouth. Those words, catch them. I do it to myself. I catch them when I say something that's less than empowering, and I'll go cancel, cancel, cancel. And I will say what I intend to say that lifts me up.
Because your words have mana, they have energy, and you are creating your future with your words.
In the Hawaiian culture, words, like you just said, words have mana. And so we only speak purposefully what we intend for ourselves.
Tell us about your course.
Ho'i mai I hono, the journey inward. On this journey, you're going to connect with your ha. You're going to center and ground yourself. You're going to have a beautiful experience of forgiveness. Each module is a Hawaiian value or Hawaiian word. So ha, your breath, is module 1. Module 2 is hui kala, forgiveness. Module 3 is ha'a ha'a, humility. And so you're going to go on this journey, going deeper and deeper and deeper inward, releasing, letting go, forgiving, loving, being gentle to yourself, being compassionate with yourself, being understanding of your journey and what's needed at this time. Letting go of the stories and releasing the stories and replacing the story with the intention that you choose for yourself to live by. And so you come out of this journey with tools and techniques and guided meditations, different ways that you can acknowledge that divine presence within you, connect with your higher self, to allow yourself to be guided by your divine soul self. When you have that strong connection, you can navigate through life much more clearly, not being distracted by all of the what's going on out there in the world.
There's a lot that a person could get caught up in right now.
Try to remain neutral. Try to remain neutral, because this is your guiding light to help you navigate through life and be resilient. Like water off a duck's back. You'll just be resilient. You're just going to flow through life with grace. And that's what the inward journey will provide you, is once you connect here to your ha, your center, no one can push you off of or derail you. No one or no thing, no situation can derail you when you are fully centered and grounded in your being.
Thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. If anyone would like to learn more, where can they find you?
Yes, I have a website, kahulahela.com. That's KAHULAHELA.com.
And what does that mean?
Lahela is my Hawaiian name, and Kahu is a title which is wisdom keeper, a keeper of the light.
What does Lahela mean?
Lahela is La is sun or sunlight, and Hela is widespread.
That you are. Thank you again for being my guest, Lahela.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's such an honor to be here with you, and blessings to all of your listeners.
Much aloha.
Ahui ho.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Exploring the Mystical Side of Life. You will find all of our conversations on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm. Please support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you again next time.